like to call the June Steering Legislative and Governmental Committee meeting to order. First item of business, we need to approve the minutes from our last meeting. Call on Vice Chairman Commissioner Gooch.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we need to fill a veterinarian vacancy on the Board of Health. We have one application for that vacancy. That is of Mr. Charles G. Kennard. And I don't see Mr. Kennard here. We have a motion.
So we'll just bring the other one back up next month?
So what, huh?
We got,
We just have one vacancy. It's
oh, okay,
on
I'm
the
sorry, I'm
first-
looking at the wrong
first
one.
item.
Yeah, yeah.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved. We have a second.
Second.
And a second. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, we need to fill two vacancies on the Linebaugh Library Board. We have received 3 applications. First one being from Miss Marilyn Castelli, Miss Lisa Trail, and Miss Sandra Estes. And we have 2 vacancies on that board. You've also received a letter from Miss Rita Shacklett, the director there, recommending that the board of directors recommends Ms. Castelli and Ms. Lisa Trail also to fill that vacancy. As we do with all of our applicants, I'd like to ask them if they wish to speak to the committee, say anything that's on your mind, why you would like to serve, and we'll start with Ms. Castelli.
Well, this is my 3rd term, and last, and I have enjoyed it. I want to continue to enjoy it. I am the treasurer right now, and I have agreed to continue to have another year as treasurer if you all approve me for the vacancy. So far as I'm concerned, you know, I've been here before. If you have any questions.
Any questions for Ms. Costello?
How many members currently serve on that board?
Altogether 14, 7 from the city and 7 from the county.
Thank you.
Ms. Terrell?
I did not know I was going to address you guys. I would consider it an honor to serve on the board. I was excited when approached by it. I think, you know, I work now as the city communications director for Murfreesboro City Schools, so it helps to see what's going on with the library and what's going on in the schools and how we can make reading something to be enjoyable. So if you have any questions, I didn't do my stump speech, I'm sorry.
It's better coming from the hip anyway, or from the heart, from the heart.
And I did not see any questions for Ms. Terrell. I did not see Ms. Estes here. We have a motion from the committee.
Make a motion we approve Ms. Castelli and Ms. Trail.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion on the motion? Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. You will be recommended to the full commission on June the 11th, I believe. So. Sorry. I believe it's June the 11th.
That's 13th.
13th. See.
11th's a Tuesday.
Yep.
Yeah.
13. Next Thursday. Next Thursday.
Don't show up on the 11th, the 13th. Thank you all very
Thank
much
you.
for your
Thank
service.
you.
Next, we need to announce 2 vacancies on the Community Care Board, those being Mike Nunley and Frankie Johnson. The next, we need to announce a vacancy on the Highland Rim Regional Library Board, Francis James. All right, Commissioners, the next 3 items on the agenda, Commissioner Stevens, and if you want to come on up, Commissioner Stevens, kind of brought these to my attention and asked for them to be placed on the agenda for tonight, and so I will just ask him to first talk about the commission voting system.
Okay, well, good evening. Of course, what really prompted this was a few months ago, I had somebody that told me they were having a really hard time accessing the website and figuring out how commissioners were voting on certain things. And I looked at it myself, and it was somewhat difficult to access that. They had made some changes to that website that made it a little bit easier, but still complicated. And then also a couple of months ago, we were at our commission meeting and the voting system failed. I don't know if you remember that, the night when the reds and green lights wouldn't work when we voted, we had to go through and do the roll call votes.
Oh, that was a little glitch, yeah, that come up that I don't think has ever happened
Well,
before.
that's
so-
the first time
yeah.
that's ever in the 20 years I've been up here.
So, I talked to Brian Robertson, and he said that voting system, the software, is 16 years old, and the voting records on the internet are connected to the software for that machine. So, that's why it's so difficult to update it and to get the voting records on there quickly, is because 16-year-old data has to convert to the modern website. So, Brian said that there is a way that you can put an app on the iPads and that we can use the iPads to vote. And this app will record the votes and it'll be much easier to get the voting record from the iPad to the website. And that'll make it easier for people.
With the iPad, if you vote on the iPad, will the iPad go up to and show up on the board?
It won't show up on the one with the lights, but a projector screen can come down and they can project the vote on the screen above the mayor's seat.
Oh, okay. For the public that's here.
Correct.
Yeah.
So anyway, he said that this app that he's working on developing is low or no cost at all. They're doing it all in-house. They're able to create this program themselves, and it will make it easier for them to transfer the information to the website. And especially with election time coming up, people will want to look at the commissioner's voting records, and we really need to make that much easier than it is. And right now, it's only updated quarterly. So he made it sound like to me that this could be done a lot faster and easier if we switch. But he is working on using the iPads as a backup right now in case the voting system fails again. He thinks that we'll be able to use our iPads to vote. But ultimately, we need to probably modernize and make it easier for everybody. So I guess that's kind of where the whole thing came back with accessing the voting records, because we want to make it as easy for people to get involved as we can.
So he's actually working on it now?
Yes.
But, I wouldn't mind seeing before, I wouldn't
Yeah.
want to vote tonight. I'd like
Yeah.
to see and him show us how it's gonna be before we, it may not be something that we may wanna do if he wants to.
Mr. Chairman, would it be appropriate to make a motion for Brian to be here next month to go through it with us on this voting thing? And that's probably gonna give him a little time then to work on it too, if he's working on this, to
Well, yeah.
kind of give us some ins and outs
This is
on
not
it.
a high priority work on it. They initiated this
Right,
sort of
yeah,
by themselves.
right.
Just whenever he gets it,
Whenever he gets it ready.
Yeah.
If it's okay with the committee, what if
I mean,
just-
to tell you the truth, I don't really want to get away from the lights and the way we're voting, but if that can be synced in with something of this, then, it might be for as far as this commissioner, it may be an added plus or something, but I don't want to go away from that as far as what the public's seeing there, and I know you got the drop down screen, but maybe you go through the whole idea of,
what it looks like.
yeah, and
I think
how
there's
it's gonna,
definitely some logistical things.
yeah,
that'll
and
have
how
to
it's gonna be
worked
better
out.
for us, yeah.
What were some of the, commissioners, some of the complaints about the website as far as how, and what nature is it difficult? I've been on it a few times, but what are they saying? How is it difficult?
Sometimes when you get on there and you click on a commissioner's name, it says that the website can't be found. And then sometimes it'll pull up, and it was going all the way back to like 2002, and you had to scroll through pages and pages and pages to get to the current one. And then you had to know which date the vote was on to find it. So it just wasn't user-friendly, and it's still not the most user-friendly thing. So if we can modernize.
Would it be more of a website problem instead of a voting problem? A
It
voting
might be
machine
to an
problem?
extent, but part of it's the software that goes with the voting system. Because it's 16 years old. I think he said there's a computer that we can't upgrade because it has to be using that software to run the voting
Yeah.
system.
What's the cost? Did he say anything about the cost?
He said he's developing the program to do it in-house. There won't be any cost. So,
Just whenever he gets it ready, just let him bring it to us, we'll look at it.
We just wanted to see if it was something of interest or if anybody was gonna,
Yeah.
you know, be upset about it or anything like that. Change is difficult sometimes.
We're always open to,
Yeah.
Well, I do respect what a couple of you said. What he's proposing to do will not interface with this light system we got in.
won't.
No.
I'm like Commissioner Sandlin, I like the board with the light.
That's what he expressed to me. I don't know what he expressed to you, Mr. Stevens.
He said a screen would come down and like when we vote, it would just project on the screen and show you the
So,
same,
if we need
same
to
thing that.
pursue that avenue, it's gonna take a bit more discussion than the simple
A scr-
process that he thinks he might put
Right.
in
Well,
place.
I've seen on planning commission or something, or one of, I watched the rerun back, you can't really, that screen back there, you can't really tell on,
Yeah, from the viewing area, yeah.
from the viewing area, or especially
Or
on TV.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think the camera actually focuses on that light system when we vote.
Yeah.
It's like a
Yeah, it
digital.
does.
It does.
Yeah.
It
Switches
pop-
over
it
and
switches
shows
over
what your
and
votes
shows what
are.
the votes are.
And who voted
Is
what.
that a digital image of it though,
No.
or is that
No.
the actual image?
It's like your live image of, like when a commissioner speaks or, you know, when it's focused in on the mayor, you know, and speaking or something, they flip over to that, you know, after record the vote, it goes
Yeah.
over and shows how everybody voted.
Yeah, I think that's one of the logistical things that Brian would have to work out.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sure there's a way, since it's gonna be on a computer, there's a way to just transpose that screenshot into the TV.
Mhm.
So they wouldn't see a video camera shot of the screen or something. They would see that
Yeah.
actual
I mean, I'd like to see it where it's actually visible to the
Right.
public, whether they're watching on TV or actually in the audience, to actually see, you know, clearly.
I'm more worried about Trey logging in under my username. and voting. Not that that would ever happen.
No, that would never happen. I'm logging in there.
So
All
would it be-
right,
would it-
so we'll
would it-
ask Brian to,
Okay.
whenever he gets that together, bring that to
Okay.
us and kind of show us what it looks like.
And just an idea, I don't know if this is feasible, but maybe if we wanna keep the big screen, but kinda use that, can we use both to vote? Or would that be confusing?
Both.
But, in other words, you still vote on the table, and then you vote on your iPad.
Lord, that's, well,
That could be confusing.
Yeah.
that's, well, I'm gonna
I could be on
quiet.
both sides then, I could
Yeah.
vote this way.
Well, I know we can have them
Yeah.
connected where, because I think the website is kind of difficult, from what I've, you know, if I was gonna research and it would be kind
Yeah.
of hard to do that.
Another complaint was that they couldn't compare how you voted with how I voted. Like if you have, they want to see how all people voted on the issue, not just their one commissioner. Because if I want to find out how Commissioner Farley voted on it, I would go to his page and scroll through there and finally find that vote, and it shows how you voted.
Yeah.
But it doesn't show how everybody else voted. So now you've got to.
Well, on the website I use, it lists all 21 and,
There is a way that you can find that, but it's very difficult to get to it.
okay.
Well, let me ask, would it not be better? I mean, I'm just trying to throw some things on the table. Would it not be better to fix the website? And fix it where all commissioners, would be pulled up easier?
I'm not sure if that's doable with the software that we have. I think that was part of the issue.
But it's being done now.
Yeah.
It's just maybe hid in a, you know, a bad spot or something, I don't know.
I guess the question is how often it's being updated. If it's being updated every 3 months, you know, you might not be able to find it until the next quarter.
Mm.
As opposed to it would be available, you know, much faster if it was done through the
I
iPad
think,
system.
Give us a couple, 3 months to do some real research and homework and
Uh,
evaluate the whole process.
Okay. All right.
Next, electronic messaging between commissioners.
So this one, Williamson County has this forum on their website that commissioners can use. And it's not a violation of the Sunshine Law. In fact, it's specifically exempted from the Sunshine Law, where each commissioner can have a login and a password, and you can discuss these issues with each other on this forum on their website, ask you a question, you can respond with what you think about it or where you're coming from. And all of this is public, so that the public can get on there and read the comments or see what's going on discussion-wise between the commissioners. It's not something that you have to do, but for those of us that like using the internet and communicating with people that way, it would be something, like for me, I have questions about the budget for somebody like Commissioner Baum. So instead of sending him a personal email with a very detailed response, I could send him, a comment to the forum, he could respond on there, and everybody could look at it.
Mm.
And then if you didn't agree with what he said, then you could say, no, Commissioner, that's not correct, this is correct.
All right, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, okay? Would, there would only, to me, it would only be a handful, a few people that would be seeing this. If a commissioner's got a question on a budget, say, would it not be best where it can be viewed all over the TV, where more citizens could actually see the dialogue between the commissioner that's asking the questions and the commissioner that's,
You mean like at the meeting, or like
Yeah.
have the, I guess the person could go to the meeting and ask, but.
that may be more old school way, but I'm talking about you're gonna be able to get to more people, in my opinion, by doing it that way than you would be that, by doing this is kind of my thought. That may be old school.
This is not for the public. I mean, they can see it anytime they choose to, but it's not for them to gather information. That just sort of gives the forum the ability to operate in a transparent way. It's for communication between the commissioners.
Basically, it's like a open forum, any commissioner can go there and, discuss anything, and then once you post something or ask a question or make a comment, it's public and it stays there. It's archived. And, for me, it would be convenient. I don't know if any of the other newer commissioners would like to do that or not, but it's just something that's, Brian said, it's really easy to put on our website and very low maintenance, and it would give us the option to do that if we wanted to.
Does he know cost?
But there is no cost. He said it was really easy to put a page on there and just give you a
Is it,
username.
is it
and
kinda
password.
like, would it be like text messaging or,
Yeah.
like a chat room or something?
Facebook,
Facebook?
yeah.
I guess you could look at this, I don't know how to describe it exactly. It's just a thing, then you can post a comment and it uploads.
County book.
And then if anybody in the county or anybody wants to get on the website, they can pull it up and read what you said, what I said. It's just there. And
It's the legal way to have a pre-meeting meeting.
Hmm.
I don't think you can
But you don't have to.
count votes or do things like that through the website, but you can discuss topics and find out
That's
whether
why I
people
won't like
think.
it.
Do what?
That's why I won't like it.
What's that?
If my constituents want me, they'll call me and they'll talk to me and they'll ask me. I've got all kinds of stuff out there for them to get a hold of me on. I'm not gonna get on there and chat and tweet and.
Well, this isn't for them to chat or tweet with you. So
It's
they would
strictly
still,
for-
they would still call you.
Who's it for
They're
then?
just gonna see.
It's for us. Let's say before this meeting, we wanted to talk about, or I wanted y'all to know a little bit more about, this thing right here, or the commission voting system. Robert could get on there and post
So maybe y'all
all
want
the
to
stuff we
debate whether
talked
you want
about.
birds at Public Works and Property Management Committee. You talk about that before you get to the meeting in this chat room, on this forum.
I can say, here's why I'm bringing this forward, here's the good reasons for doing that. And you could say, no, I don't like that idea, and here's what we don't need to do. But it's all public, so anybody in the community.
It's
who
all
wants to-
public right here.
It is,
Right.
but we can discuss it legally ahead of time.
I don't like
Well, you don't have to use it, that's the thing.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody has to use it.
And I won't, but I mean, it's just a point if it, and this is probably old school, don't get me wrong. I don't tweet and all that stuff. I probably should, but I don't. I do as little texting as I have to do, my kids and wife do all that stuff. I just don't do it. I just upgraded a smartphone, and this is smarter than me. Believe you me, it is. But that's because it was free. But call me, talk to me. I think even though they say it's not, breaking the sunshine law, to me, I think it is. It's talking in amongst ourselves about stuff that to me I think is breaking the sunshine law.
Well, I've got the code. If you want to read it, it specifically exempts this forum if it's done this way
Mhm.
from the Sunshine Law.
In Williamson County already, other counties already doing it.
Williamson County has it. Here's the resolution that I meant to pass this
Okay.
out. I got distracted.
If you pass a resolution and adopt a plan that you define yourself, it's legal.
We got a couple more.
And I guess the way it's made legal is because everybody can see it, where otherwise, you wouldn't,
Correct.
yeah.
I guess and I don't think it would be, but I wouldn't want it to be an official form of, say, notification or information for those who won't get on it. In other words, if half of us are very active in it, half of us never look at it, then if it becomes a use of a formal notification or information, then we're gonna be, those people be
Oh,
left
yeah.
out.
You still have to advertise your meetings and all of that through the newspaper, and it doesn't exempt you from that. It's just
Like I
strictly
can
to
see
discuss the
Commissioner
issue.
Sandlin not available for comment. Well, heck, I was. Why didn't you pick up the phone and call me? You know?
In other words, if something's not gonna be announced through this mechanism and expect me to know
See what
about
I'm
it. That's okay.
Can,
Media
Can-
get a hold to it. Act like you don't care.
Oh, yeah.
is it for commissioners only?
Only.
Yes. The discussion.
Anybody
Oh.
can view it, but you're the only one that can make a post.
Well, then I think our local media, D&J, Post, all them, they could pull off anything that we've said off there.
But
Just
they
like
can-
they could here
they
at
can-
this
they can
meeting.
quote at any of the meetings.
Yeah.
and post
They
it
can
too.
quote it.
Yeah, but at that point, you may not have all your information, and then, you know, okay, you get new light to the information, which that's what these meetings do. You know, we may not have all the information, we ask all the questions, and then you enlighten me with new information. I'm like, yeah, okay, I see it that way now. You know?
Let me ask, if we did do it, and like, I probably wouldn't use it. I mean, I just, might not. But let's say you and Commissioner Turner, now both y'all, I think y'all tweet and all Facebook and all that stuff. I mean, I'm not trying to make fun of it, I'm just, but is it gonna give the appearance, that's like us here, we may not use it. Is it gonna give the appearance that we're not willing to cooperate or,
Sure.
you know?
I don't think so. I mean, it's optional.
I think it would.
Oh, yeah.
I think it would,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
I don't know, Mr. Stevens, if Brian told you, but he printed off from Williamson County the number of times that site's been used. I don't know whether it's complete, maybe his listing is incomplete, but only 3 people in 2 or 3 years have made a post, about 29 total posts.
Robert do that in one day.
We all know they have lots
They
of
haven't
questions.
used it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
And like to discuss things, and so I think there's some other ones that would be interested in using that too.
Yeah.
And that's what I don't wanna hold back, you wanting to do it or somebody else, you know, on the commission to do it. If I, just cause I'm not interested in it, I can see
Yeah, I mean-
beyond that and say, okay, I did upgrade to a smartphone besides just regular phone that called me.
I mean, I can
make
see it,
phone
I'm
calls
like
on.
him, if you want to do it, or Commissioner Turner want to do it, or Mr. Gooch want to do it, or whatever,
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that. You know, I would probably use
I
it.
wanna say one more.
Yes, sir.
I just want to say one more thing. I guess I'm overly sensitive. I've been over in that courtroom enough to be accused of pre-meeting meetings.
Yeah,
between
absolutely.
Myself and others,
Right.
including you guys. I understand this is legal, but I just don't see how in the world you still prove that you haven't deliberated toward a decision. I just don't follow that.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
Anytime you're discussing back and forth, you're deliberating, you're moving one another toward your position, which is deliberating toward a decision.
Well,
And we have been advised repeatedly by our county attorney, no 2 people get together and deliberate toward a decision. So
Right.
I understand this is perfectly legal, but I just don't see how it really can be determined if that is really the case or not.
It's a little difficult for me to think that it's going to be legal much longer, the way this technology thing is growing and growing. And
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
Commissioner Stevens, we're from different generations. I would never, under any circumstances, I don't believe, do that. I don't think. Now, I'm on Facebook, but I don't use it for commission work. If somebody wants me, they call me today, as a matter of fact. So, you know, I'm okay with that. And they know that, and I'm in the book, as are you, as are you. So, I mean, you know, I'm not really, if you want to do that, I don't have any particular objection. It would make any difference if I did or not. And it does look like, it just seems to me, I realize if I go out and I have I violate the sunshine law, which I am not gonna do, and I don't think anybody else is going to. We've been told that enough over the years that we know what happens, and what could happen. But if this just seems like to me that I realize if I did violate the sunshine law, it would be, which I would not do, it would be in private, and the public could not view that, would not be part of that conversation, which differs from this. I recognize that this is public, so.
You know,
I can't imagine me stating anything in a conversation with somebody, and that I would, if I want to talk to the public, I'll go to the newspaper and talk to the public. We're talking to them right now.
yeah.
That's,
Well, I know at one time, Miss Allen had brought up a deal where, about the texting between commissioners. You know, to me, and I may be completely off base, but to me, that's the same thing.
I don't see it.
It's private, though. I mean, nobody would see that. It wouldn't be available for public.
Yeah, which I do well to text anyway. I do text, but I don't text commissioners. But I may be wrong, but I kind of see it that way. And I don't know. But the mayor hit an excellent point, because I've been over there in the same courtroom when somebody's screaming it up and down.
I think that they suggested did that.
Yeah,
I have too.
you know,
Well, and I'm just curious, and that's one reason I wanted you to talk to the county attorney prior to bringing this up here is, I agree with you, we can't, I mean, everybody knows we can't deliberate towards a decision, you know, just one-on-one in a room somewhere. But with this, is it legal to deliberate towards a decision because it is fully public? If it is legal, then we don't fall in that category of a pre-meeting meeting that nobody knows about or anything like that, because it is all public and it is all archived and it is all legal. I guess that's one of the I mean, there's always been, I shouldn't say always been, there have been several occasions where I wished I could have picked up the phone and called somebody and asked them some questions, because I would have been better informed going into the meeting. But I didn't, because I was afraid that I might cross that line. And so I think we've all probably been in that situation where we just don't do it. I'm thinking that with this technology, this is a way where maybe we could get that better information so that we would be, or more information so that we would be better informed when we go into the meeting. Now, that's the only benefit I really see in here. I see it more as a benefit for me as a commissioner than I do for the public, even though the public could gain from it as well. But I do see it being a benefit if it is legal and it's not going to get us. I mean, the last thing we need to do is do anything to violate a law out there. But if it is something that provides us an opportunity to better serve our constituents, then this could be an avenue to do it. All that being said, I think we've been operating pretty good without it as well. But if it's another tool that we can use to better serve, the county, then.
I mean, I don't, if a commissioner wants to use something like that, I don't have a problem with it. If it's legal. I'm just probably not going to use it myself. If I got questions, I'm going to come to the committee meeting, and ask the question on TV versus the technology way. So, as far as through this forum.
according to this, I'm not arguing, just don't make it clear here. It's okay, I may be misunderstanding this. it's okay to try to convince somebody or reach a decision or tell them what your decision was or to ask for information using this tool. But it is not okay, because it's public, but it's not okay for me to pick up the phone and call that person. I know that's not okay, and because I don't do it, and try to convince them. Is that right?
I mean, that's correct.
Okay.
But you can't find anything to the contrary in the actual law itself. But Williamson County, in their plan, made a statement. It shall be agreed by each county commission that the forum is for information and to exchange ideas. No votes or other acts of finality shall be taken by any of the participants. They put a little bit heavier burden on themselves to indicate. Now, I don't know how they enforce that.
Right.
Yeah. That's right.
And more
Well,
or less,
that's-
they've said you can't deliberate toward a decision. I don't know who's gonna know when you cross the line.
I foresee.
That's the line with the sunshine law, period, is forming a decision.
And I
You know,
guarantee a
if
decision's
it's-
gonna be formed on
if-
this thing.
Yeah, well, you know, if it's in talking with everybody on steering to persuade them or lead them to vote yes for approving the minutes of this meeting, then to me that's breaking the sunshine law openly on this thing. Well, even though you've done it in public, it's persuading them to you know, it's leading them toward that, leading them and saying, are you going to vote yes? That's the only difference for this. You know, which really the only time I can think we're even somewhat even close is when like a commissioner is running for one of the committees where you're trying to get votes for yourself to be put on a committee, either for whatever, or like Chairman Pro Tem or chaplain or to get on a committee of some sort. You know, that's when you're right out asking somebody for a commissioner for their vote for that. I think that's not really sunshine law there. This is, you know, I want you to vote for a number of cents on the tax rate, then that's breaking the sunshine law.
You're also doing it publicly, and I'm not sure this is a good idea at all. You're doing it publicly 2-3 weeks before you've heard any debate or discussion on the commission floor about something.
Mm-hmm.
And that bothers me,
Yeah.
too.
Because you're almost already getting your path of no or your path of yes before hearing all the information and asking all the questions, because you're probably going to hear.
We had 26 issues just on the budget last night. I didn't know everything about all those 26 issues.
Right.
Until we got there, and we had some debate and discussion on, I don't know, perhaps 5 of them, maybe questions, whatever.
I mean, they wind up taking an hour extra for a meeting at some point to get all the questions answered. I mean, that's what we're here for. You know,
I'm not going to be trying to convince somebody. I may gather information, perhaps I might use it for that, but I'm not going to try to convince anybody, and I'm not going to want to be convinced, and I would be stunned if somebody answered my text, which I can't do anyway. I don't text. My granddaughter texts, but I don't answer her. I call her.
Section 11 brings up a question. It says, public notice shall be provided in a newspaper of general circulation and on its web pages, stating that the Williamson County Board of Commissioners tend to use this electronic form. How often do they have to give public notice that they're using this form?
Oh, it looks like they just did it one time just to notify people.
That's the question I would need to answer. I mean, are they having to notify the public every day that somebody may be using it every week, once a lifetime?
That's a burden that they put on themselves, that there's no requirement for that in the law. They just did that as a choice that they made to notify their people. I think they even put in here something about a public hearing, and section 10, it says that they had a public hearing on it, and you don't have to do that under the law either. But I guess it was just the way the forum was there and if they
Because
were.
I do know that the intent of the Sunshine Law is to give public notice that a committee or the full body is gonna be deliberating on something. Whereas this, there, even though it's out there, I don't know, there's no public notice that, hey, Commissioner Stevens and Commissioner Gooch are gonna be, I don't know, kinda like the mayor, I kinda like the idea, but there's some questions that how do you know we're not crossing the line? And could this law, someone using us to challenge the law? And now we're stuck in a lawsuit. I don't know.
So
I think that probably Mr. Cope's office needs to give some advice, maybe even Brian when he's here to talk about the other issue we want to talk about. But again, I like the idea of that communication among commissioners and the public. I think that's interesting. But I can just see it. Some organization is going to use us to challenge this law, and we got to hire a lawyer. Because if it happens to any county, it's going to happen to us.
Well, it looks like it's quite a little bit that the IT department's gonna have to do, you know, on a regular basis. So it will take time for them to, a lot of different things in here what the IT department is gonna have to do.
And with all that going on, if we only have 29, like Williamson County had 29,
29 posts according to his count. I don't know if that was completely accurate, but they've had this in place a couple of years, I think.
It said that they archive there somehow, and I'm not sure what that means or how they do that,
Yeah.
but I don't know if all the posts are available or not.
Yeah, once a quarter.
And again, that's something that they chose to do.
but if we went into something like that, we want to cover all bases, that's for sure.
Well, that's right.
I don't know, it's a slippery slope that kind of scares me. As far as some commissioner walking off into somewhere and the next thing you know, they're out here deliberating, and next thing you know, they've violated the Sunshine Law. They say, well, it's on a forum, public forum, but I don't know, that just.
Well, my feelings won't be hurt if you decide not to go for it, but it's just an option.
Well, and I appreciate you saying that, because I mean, we do have a different opinion on this, I think, and, you know, and I'm trying to be respectful. I mean, I know that you do this type of stuff, and some others do this type of stuff, and it concerns me. That's a concern I've got, and I think some other commissioners here have got that same concern, but and the mayor's got that same concern, and I think it's a slippery slope.
If you're talking to somebody or you're listening to debate on the commission floor, you can glean so much information from that and from body language and how passionate they are about what they're talking about, and you can ask immediate questions. But when the written word is so open to interpretation, you know, well, you said something. No, I didn't mean. You know, again, it just slippery slope is a good way to describe it, I guess. Now, where would this be recorded? It would be. I believe you said it would be forever. It would be in just like our minutes and everything else. It would be open for.
Right, it's just recorded on the computer or on the server.
And on the website.
Williamson County,
Each.
They chose to just keep 1 year as active, and they
Okay.
archives anything that's.
Each conversation.
All the posts, yeah.
Okay. That's a lot of work for somebody.
That shall be pulled up and used against you at any time.
Mr. Chairman, I guess we got some other stuff on the agenda. I'll make a motion that we kind of table this right here for right now. And, until, you know, we feel like we need to bring it back up.
Okay. A motion, we have a second.
I'll second.
discussion on the motion?
I just don't like the word tabling.
Well, I mean,
Cause to me, it kind of, it's gonna be put on the shelf and it's gonna go away. You know?
that's kind of what I mean, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I got you. Well, I think we need I think the commissioner here needs an answer. And I think other commissioners that are interested in this need an answer. We may need some more input or comments or whatever before we can make a decision maybe on the steering committee. I don't know. I'm just speaking for myself. That
Well, what if we do this, and just, I'll take my motion off the floor and just say, until further information comes back, and it brings it back to us, we'll look at for any future information, and we'll decide at that point.
Or if you just didn't have a motion, it would
Just leave it alone.
still be there available if somebody wants to bring it up later or something.
Right. I'll take my motion off the
Is
floor.
I withdraw my second then.
what do you think?
Excuse me, Jack.
Is Williamson County, do they televise their meetings?
Oh, yeah.
Do they?
All right.
What do you think, Commissioner? What else can you?
Well, I just wanted to gauge the interest to see what other people thought about it, and I figured it was not gonna be popular, maybe because of the generational divide, but in the future, I think it would be something that would be beneficial for, younger commissioners.
When you say
Right.
generation, you're talking about some of those people.
Talk
that-
about me.
I'm like over here with you.
But
Here
my
you
thing
are.
was, like the other night on our
Right.
agenda, we had those 26 things on there, and I like to read all the information before the meeting, before I go in and get as much information as I can, so I can make good questions to ask. And maybe that's just a difference, but I read everything before
But,
we go in.
and you said it, right? I mean, it's a generational thing. I mean, the younger generation, this is their time. That's why I said a while ago, I admit, I'm old school when it comes to stuff like this.
Well, there is definitely wisdom in the generational divide, especially from the aspect of being cautious when it comes to the written word, as you say. And, well, I didn't mean it that way. I meant it this way. And it could be some things. I mean, at the same time, it's also a great tool that maybe we could use down the road. But there are still some unanswered questions and definitely some hesitancy out there, I think, to move forward at this point without more information about how exactly, again, what it would look like and where is that line, if there is a line out there.
Here's the thing, in emails, today emailing is quite a bit. Sometimes you get an email or you send an email and the word and the words you put in it may not be how you feel. You may put the words in there and someone thinks that you're actually upset when you're actually not upset. When you put the red exclamation points and all this, they know you're upset. But it just, to me, it's the written word. It
Depends on what is.
Yeah, define. Yeah, but
I think I've heard that somewhere
Is there
before.
an automatic spell check changes your words?
I have, with all of these recent lawsuits, I don't put anything in an email that doesn't have to be put there.
right.
I don't even email our county attorney unless, it's just really clear and simple and it's not going to create anybody's view that would be a conflict. In fact, I've been advised not to do that by our county attorney.
Yeah.
We've spent almost $350,000 on a lawsuit that's been half of its time trying to prove we'd already had a meeting and made this decision. I guess I'm overly sensitive, but we spent a lot of the citizens' taxpayer money because of people accusing us of doing things.
Which is ridiculous. Shouldn't have never had to spend that money.
Right.
Particularly when 21 commissioners know absolutely positively for sure that was not right.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Well, it goes to show you can be sued over anything.
Yeah.
Because the context of those words in an email or whatever can be misconstrued
And
into
they
something that's not
subpoenaed
even.
every email that any of us ever wrote about or received about these issues. So this is all a major part of public record, and we have to be
Right.
extraordinarily concerned about really being respectful and proper in how we communicate.
And Commissioner, by being respectful to you, I'd just rather we move on to the next.
Number 7. on your iPad, you'll see that we merged Public Works Committee and Property Management Committee.
Well, last year before our budget vote, somebody suggested that to me in the public as a way that we could save money. We have 7 committees, and they suggested that we eliminate the Property Management Committee and merge it with Public Works, the Public Works and Property Management Committee. So I thought it was a good idea. I brought it up at the last minute, and of course I figured it wasn't gonna go anywhere because I didn't have time to present it at a committee or whatnot, but they asked me to do it, so I did it. And it is a good idea because if we merge those 2 together and add 1 position to the purchasing committee, we'll have 6 committees with 7 people. Everybody's on 2 committees. And that will save us $11,626 out of the budget for the commission's operating budget.
They don't meet that many times.
Well, they don't meet it, but it's in there.
Property management.
We could take that money out and put it somewhere else if we don't.
We do that.
But it's budgeted for 12 meetings in the commission's operating budget. So if we take it out, we won't have to be there. We could budget that $11,626 elsewhere.
But they may budget something in somebody else's budget, and if they don't spend it, it's the same difference. It's gonna come back into the general fund.
Well, correct.
Which it always does, yeah.
I understand that, but I'd rather not budget it at all and put it somewhere else that we need to use it. Of course, we do have that deficit.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, the Property Management Committee, I believe, in which I'm one of the ones that's on the Property Management Committee, and I think Chairman McAdoo he's very frugal on it. He works with the mayor on it, and they don't call a meeting unless there's a dire need to have a meeting, and that's usually 3 or 4 times a year, And I just think I think it's working pretty good. I don't think it's being overspent, and so that's kind of my opinion on that. And I don't think we need to merge the 2 committees.
Well, not only would we save the money, we would have.
We're not actually saving the money.
If the people aren't meeting for the third
The
committee.
money's not spent, so therefore you're not
They're
saving
getting paid
it.
for the property management committee meeting.
Not
If
for
we-
$11,000.
If they,
We're only getting paid 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
For 3
So
or
the
4
money
meetings.
is rotated back into the budget on whatever's
well,
not.
why don't we eliminate that from our budget then and put it back in the general fund?
We could go through every department and everything and go through all those type things. But that's in there if you use it, it's in there if it's needed. But ultimately, those tax dollars are not wasted or spent because the meeting didn't happen. So it's not saving.
We
The
could
money's
do
not
away-
spent, it's rolled back in.
We could
But I
do
didn't
away
mean to
with-
interrupt you, I just.
I didn't interrupt you either.
I was gonna just clarify that.
We could do away with all the committees, just meet every Thursday night and with all 21 of us, and we'd get nothing accomplished.
No, I agree there's gotta be committees, but we have to ask ourselves, is this absolutely critical to our function? And I just don't see that it is. I've been on both committees, and I think that any commissioner is capable of walking and chewing gum at the same time. I think everybody on Public Works is capable of handling the issues that have come before the Property Management Committee. And you've got short meetings for Public Works and short meetings for Property Management. And to me, it's wasteful to have both when you could put both responsibilities into one committee and save the money that would have been spent on the Property Management Committee.
It's not always that time, though. I mean, it's not always a short meeting.
The last one wasn't, was it? I think the last one, when Chairman McAdoo, I wish he was here tonight.
Well, I was chairman of Public Works a few years
I
ago.
just watched it on TV, and
And
it was a pretty long meeting, wasn't it, Mr. Mayor? Wasn't that the night they were talking about the Justice Center and
That was 2 months ago.
That was the one previously.
previous to that? Are we, I'll just ask about Health and Ed since I'm chairman of Health and Ed. Is it budgeted, I should know this, but I'll just ask, is it budgeted for 12 meetings a year?
Yes, they all are.
Okay, and we meet, Ms. Shelton, I believe, 10. We don't meet in December, we don't meet in July. I believe that's correct, isn't it? So that money goes right back in the general fund.
I don't think we have any schedule for July, do we?
Steering will meet, probably.
But they usually
well-
double up in June.
Well, yeah,
What's that, like-
yeah,
If
you're right about that.
if there's needed,
If it's
if there's
needed.
need.
Public safety, which you're on public safety with me, I didn't call for a public safety meeting in June because there's no sense in having that meeting before. And we saved that money there, but we'll have one in July because it's at the latter part
At the end of July, yeah.
of the month, to get ready for the August. So there was no sense us having a June meeting. you know,
Yeah.
there's, I think we can handle them that way, like property management is being handled now 3 or 4 times a year.
How long has this structure been set up on these individual committees? They was put that way for a purpose, in my opinion.
I know it's been up here the entire time I've been here, and I think it was here before.
Yeah.
So if Health Ed meets 10 times a year, even though we are budgeted for 12, I don't believe we meet twice a month, any month. I'm going strictly from memory for 7 years now, but.
Do you want to meet twice in May? For budgetary reasons?
No.
No? Okay.
And we have met in December before, but usually we do not. And we do not meet in July, unless maybe we've done that once, maybe, if we
Yeah.
had some pressing school business. So at the end of I'm just trying to find out what happens. So at the end of the year, end of the budget year, that money goes back in the general fund, and then it is rebudgeted the next year, even though we're probably not gonna do it unless we have an emergency of some sort. I'm not sure that this is broken. I'm not sure we've got really anything to fix. And make it clear to the public, I'm making it clear to the public right now, that if the committee doesn't meet, we aren't paid. So it's not like we're getting money for not doing anything.
Right.
True, it may be a 20-minute meeting. It could also be 3 or 4 hour meeting. And as we all know from the county commission, it can be 2 or 3 meetings in the same day. When we're only paid for one of them, we might take a break, and it can go on to the wee hours of the morning. So, and we get one commission.
Right.
Was there another reason, were you given lists of reasons? Was there another reason other than money?
Oh, we save the money. The IT people won't have to stay over and film it and edit the videos. Ms. Shelton won't have to come to the meetings. The mayor's office wouldn't have to prepare and come to the meeting.
So it's basically money.
Well, money, and then all the other people that have to come too and prepare for it, we give them a break.
But that's money.
Well, the mayor's salary is the same.
Yeah.
Ms. Shelton gets,
Do you
she
mind
gets a
going?
stipend each month. And
She has nothing else to do.
I think the IT people are paid hourly or might get overtime for having to stay. So there's money involved with them.
After listening to everybody debate this, Mr. Chairman, I mean, we can either do it with a motion or not. I mean, I make a motion that we stay as we are.
With the 2 committees the way they are.
With the 2 committees the way they are.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Any other business? Seeing none. Thank you, Commissioner Stevens. Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah.
Motion
Thanks,
to
sir.
adjourn. Second.